for these ones, right? I'll go click on this create a copy of this one, and probably like, I will arrange them, the copy of these ones next to each other. So this one I'll create, this became the button type primary. This one would be button type this one would be this is what, like, ghost. So I'm just changing the background color. Might be I'll just change the background color to little darker tone. And in this one I will fill the color. I'll change the text color to white. Probably this should do it. Now how do I associate them? Like for the primary and this one, I'll go to prototype and use this. This is when you can also go back and set hover. Yeah, if you want to animate, you can also do a smart animate, so that like it takes some time to animate. The same thing here. I'm changing this to while hovering smart animate. Alright, like so it's done. From design mode, I'll change back to this one. So now wherever you have used the buttons, they get those rollover effects. Right, so let's move back to the this got cleared, right? Like so now I'm just creating entire Joby whatever like I need, like in the same thing, right? Like so this particular button has got 4 variations now, right? Like so independent variation, like so with all of those. I'm going to add one more variations here, one more variation like for the menu label, right? Like I have to create a menu label, right? Like so the on the side drop down menu. So I just add a create a variation of this particular block. I'll just move it down. This one says like a button type, right? Like look at the name the way it is, right? Like so that's the, if you read do a different one, like it won't work. I'll call this menu I'll call this menu item or this one. So to this, like I'll go back and change the I'll remove the border radius to this one. So set it as 0. I'll swap the colors. Might be I'll go with the this one. and I'm removing the stroke there. I'll also change the text color. Text color to white, plus on the menu for all these items, right, for all these items the width was hug, but for the menu item I want it to take a fixed width. So instead of hug, I'll use fixed width, or probably let me just keep it as hug for now. um, on the content, like whatever it has got, the width is set to auto width. Instead of the auto width, I'll set um, fill container. The text is filling container, plus the menu item is fixed width. So I'm just doing it. I'll create a copy of this one, and this time it will go there. Might be when I roll over, I'll create a different. I think I could have used the top one itself. Just for the sake of this one, I'll change the color. So just to see the animations and stuff, I'm changing this. So choose the variant. This is menu item over, right, like so the variation is done. I'll choose the first one, go to prototype. I'll add up. I think it's already done while hovering. It's instead of on click. So yeah, since I copied the existing one, right, like it was already there. The option is already there. I'll just remove this. It is switching to that one. Instead of this, it has to be menu item over, right, like so make sure like it is, since I copied that, like even the interaction got copied, so you just have to change it. I just changed it. I'll choose the outer block, all this, go to design, and then I'll say resize to fit, so that like it's bounding except not going beyond. So the all the four components are there in one specific page. I'll go to visual design. I'll start creating the menu this time. So I'll start with the frame. So probably I'll go with the frame of around fixed width of 220 pixels. I'll call this slide or menu. Probably I'll convert this to an auto layout. I'll copy one of this, and I could paste that, or I can go to the components and drag the component from here. So the width, I want the fixed width, I'll say it could be like this one. We could have done the fixed width, or currently it says hug, let it be hug, or probably I'll go with the fixed width, like so, just to avoid any confusions there. And then go to button. I'll change the button from primary to menu item. Instead of width to be fixed, I'll say fill container, right? So for the menu, there is the space between each of those is set to 0. I'll set just 1 pixel. On all the other side, like so the car, there is space of 10 pixels. If you want to go with 10, keep 10, or might be I'll just go with 8 or 8, like so, depending on the design and stuff, you can go with like whatever you would want. So I've chosen this, and then I'll start duplicating this, like so 4 5. The first one I'll change instead of explore destinations, it will be yeah, I'll call this destinations. Trips. mm, Call packages. So people come to the website not to learn about me, to use the services, right? Like so, the people come here. So about us, बाकी सारा चीज like बेकार रहता है. Like so, probably we can just hide them somewhere in a unconventional, probably कहीं hide them, right? Like so, but all the important footer or some other place, but like all the important stuff, like so use this place for the important ones. So I'll call this travel um, resources, 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 and then we have travel blog, and then book your mm, plan your travel. Probably I'll add one more, talk to our agent. Alright, like so we have created all of this. Now just let's quickly look at the preview. So huh? Jatra, so that's because like the uh, we have stretched the upper one. The rollover is not stretched, and I think it's still going to the other one, not the ah. Right, like so. Let's go to the assets. This is menu item. The color is changing. Okay, this is linked to that one. Since I duplicated this, first it's coming to this one and then going to the other one. So I'll choose this and I'll probably remove this one. Right, like so. Yeah, go back. Now this is done. So which is good. I'll go back to visual design. So we just have to, we'll come back to the visual design part, like the prototyping part, like on working on all of this. We'll move on to the creating the cards and the bottom one. So to create the card, I'll start with the, we need two different types of cards. And we'll start with the first one. Inside home, and again here it says button, which is like odd, right? Like so probably you can just go back, do command R and change this as menu item with the number, right? Like so get proper ones. Same thing with this, right? Like all buttons, do command R and what are this? Desti destination BTN, right? Like so that way you will have the elements properly done. So now let's we've got header, hero banner and destinations, right? So look at the um, auto layout icons. For each of them it's different based on the way like you aligned the elements inside, content inside, the icons are also changed, right? So I'll start with one more block this time for the trending trip cards. So probably I'll go back. I'll enable the this one um, grid. So I want the block equally for two stuff. I'll put this rectangle into a. So I'm still in the prototype mode. Go to design. So since it's auto layout, like I won't be able to exactly get into the thing. So what I'll do is I'll put this whole rectangle into a into an auto layout. I'll call this trending trips, and I'll give the width of this one to be fill container. The margin either side would be 12 pixels or 16 pixels, I guess. 16 pixels, so that like it exactly falls in the center. Now in between the space we have used here is also 16 pixels, so I'll give 16 pixels gap, not this one, might be, let that be. I'll do this as 16 pixels. I'll go to the rectangle which is inside. I have to convert this to one of the card item. So probably what I'll do is like I'll set the width as fill container, and then duplicate this, choose the trending trips, set this to, so to get the exact column size it is 163.5. 163.5, that's the width for this card, right? I would probably want to go for a square card in this one where I'm displaying two of them. I'm also uh, make sure that the frame is visible here. With this done, I'll go to the first rectangle, make the height to be 163. I'll set the rounded corner of 10 pixel. I'll call this as image placeholder, and then I'll also yeah, once I'm done with this, I'll add a I'll put this into a auto layout. This one becomes what is called trip card. So I'll add the text. I'll call this trip name. So this becomes the trip card. The space between them, I'll probably keep it at 5, right? So you can either componentize this and use them, or you can use directly. So I would probably use this as component. So there is image placeholder and trip name. Now to work with images, right? Like so, you can also create a library of images. So let's go to assets. Shall I add some another component property here, or shall I do it with the basics, whatever I'm doing? I'll so what I'll do is I'll create one more frame. I'll go to the frame and choose desktop. I'll probably create a rectangle of whatever size you would want. Like I'll go with the 400. 400. I'll choose this as trip photos and then create a copy of them. Um, choose both of this, add this to a auto layout, make this it says fixed width. I'll say hug content. I'll change the direction, add the spacing between them as 30. Probably I'll just duplicate them. After this I want them to wrap. mm, Currently it says hug. I'll make it fixed width. Now when I go back and duplicate, it will come. So probably I'll use this, make them big. Might be if you want the number of photos, add them there. I think 9 photos would be good enough, or probably if you want more, let's create 12. I'll say resize to fit. Might be. I think this is good enough, I guess. So my photo layouts are ready, right? Like so, what I'll do is probably I think if you remember, I had already downloaded some photos, so I'll use the same photos. I think these are not trip photos, but shall I download the actual images? This practice for this is good, right? Like so, I think I wanted 12 images. There are only 9. Um, I think there are some running photos. I'll also get this and so if you want, you can also rename all this into proper images and like go on. So now I'll come back to this. I'll choose Control Shift K, press Control Shift K, and then go to Downloads, my folder. This is where the files were compressed. I'll choose all the images. Yeah, I think I've got 12 images there. So let me open them. Once they are open, all images are here. All the 12 images are there, right? Like so now I'll choose the frame. Probably I'll break the frame. I'll break the frame. There are 12 layers, just plain thing. I'll go click on the components on the down arrow and I'll create multiple components. before creating multiple components, like so all the images are different, so probably let's rename them. I'll probably use this as command R. Might be if you want to retain certain part you can retain, or if you want to change, right, like you can change entire stuff, so probably I'll just use picture, or might be image with the number 01, 02, 03, 012. I'll just rename them. All the images are renamed. I'll go to create component, create multiple components. So we just quickly created 12 different components with the names, um, as image 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple plain thing. Now I'll go to the visual design, right, like I want to add a image to this one, image placeholder, right, like so at the place of image placeholder I can just quickly go to assets, drag one of this image, go to layers back again, right, like so probably I don't need the image placeholder. This is 163, 163. I'll go to the this image, I'll change the size of this one to 163 and 163, or probably I'll say fill container, which would be much more apt, right, let's say the size. So you got trip name. Now instead of using a image, right, I'm using a direct image, I'm using a component. All the images are kept in one place, all the libraries available there, like instead of randomly working on and getting the images, like so we have done this there. um, so trip card, I got trip name and this one. So is this clear, Kaustub? Yes, sir. Right. So now I'll convert this trip card into a component. I'm converting the trip card into a component. So this time I'll create, remember I'm creating this in the main page, the place where I'm working on. It should actually, this original has to go into the asset page. So we'll do that. But before doing it, I'll just go create few properties. The first property I'm creating here is the text property. I'll call this trip name and whatever name, right, let's say probably uh, 4 days 3 nights. um, I'll call this Goa, 4 days 3 nights. So that's with the property which got created. I need to associate it. To associate, I'll go click on the trip name and choose the this one. Click here, choose the trip name. So automatically the name starts coming over there. The next property I'm going to do here is I'll go to the property, I'll add the instance swap property this time, right. I'll call this image, pick an instance, right. I'll go to assets, trip photos, and I'll choose one of the image one, and I'll click on the preferred values and choose all the images I want. I've chosen all of them, right, 12. So once that is done, I'll click on create property. So now I'll delete the rectangle too. I'll just duplicate the trip card, copy the original trip card, this one, right? I'll create an instance and then Control X the original, go to assets, paste the original trip card there. This becomes your trip card. Now coming to visual design, you got this, right? So you got trip card. Didn't that get associated here? Okay, it is not associated. Why? Go to edit property. These are the preferred one. I'll go to the image and then associate the property. Got associated. So return to instance. Come here. I'll probably duplicate the trip card. I'll write down Himalayan retreat, and the image is this. I'll duplicate this. So I'll probably choose the trending trips. The width is fill container. I'll set the direction to be this one and probably choose this guy. Yeah.
Previously, we were doing clipping mask. Converting that into component is the only method which we use for images.
Clipping mask is also fine. The reason I use fill is like it becomes easier for you to work with the components.
But if you are using fill, we need to have it, like we should download it. We just can't like copy and paste.
Which one? You can also do copy and paste.
I tried that, but it's not like sitting on top of the.
I think you can drag and drop, probably.
I did that,
copy paste.
While doing this, auto layout was also done. So while doing drag and dropping, if the image is like this, the container which I'm going to put, it comes like this, not like this. I already tried.
I think this way like is better. Fill. Again, using all the plugins, right? All the plugins also give the same way. It attaches as the fill. So life is easier like with if you're using fill. Masking is like extra complex. Right, like so now I think if you want to add a little bit of rounded corner to this one, click on this, go to the original card. This is where your image is. Set the border of 10 pixels. Return to the instance. It's not happening. Go to component. So now the change I made is not visible here because on all the other ones, the change has been made to the fill layer. So the fill layer is not affecting it. So probably I'll just go click on this, reset all changes or reset image property. I'll say reset image property, it changes back. um, might be this is not the right way to do. So what I'll do, I'll go to the main component again. So I made the changes to yeah. I'll do I think I'll just reset the border. I don't want to set the border radius there, but I'll set the border radius to the parent element, and I'll say clip content, and then go back to visual design. Alright, this is still not happening. um, so no, that is not I want to do. I think I'll choose the parent, this particular block, apply the radius of 10, and now I'll do clip content. I think this should work. I'm doing it on the main component. Hmm, I can, yeah. Let me figure that out, like why it's not working. Um, there are two ways like I generally do. So now I'm stuck in a problem here. Do I find an answer to make this effectively work, or shall I do a quick fix and go further? Mm. If you want to do quick fix, let's probably click on this, go to, if you do, it will change the image as well. Go, reset image property, and probably change the image. Right, like so the design almost is complete, right? Like so this is with the image swap property, um, the instance swap property. Like you can also do that like with the icons, like and we'll go on. So we'll move on to the next step, creating the other component, like so where it was vertical. I think we already done one horizontal one, like so probably I'll stop it here.